Where does it end? Is this the beginning of my doom? Am I gonna leave Canon? My entire team is going to poke fun at me. What did I just do? Long story short, I've been a Canon user my entire life, but I needed a way to sort of ramp up my content, especially when it comes to social media, and I needed to have a lighter footprint when it comes to having a camera that can help me do that. Naturally, I gravitate towards the lower end of cameras within the Canon ecosystem because it's what I've known my entire career, and I thought to myself, they must have something along the lines of what I need. So I go on their website, I start perusing every single camera that you can think of, and I landed on the G7X Mark III, which is admittedly a really cool camera, but I wasn't a fan of the flip screen going upwards, and I also wasn't a fan of the lens protruding in and out. I just think they're very flimsy. It's just not what I was looking for. On the other hand, I thought to myself that I could still grab old school M50 Mark II and sort of go to town with that thing. But at the same time, I also didn't want interchangeable lenses. I wanted something simple, something that could make me, like Sean Cannell, just press record from Think Media and just do what I needed to do. So as you can expect, I had to venture out of my own ecosystem. I do have a Fuji X100V that I shoot pictures with on the more personal side, but Fuji doesn't really have a camera and they're not really video-centric kind of company either. My next choice on the list was obviously Nikon, but I couldn't find anything that was remotely interesting to me. So what is there left to do? Join the dark side. It's funny because my team that shoots weddings is half Canon and half Sony, so the family is always divided, always bickering at each other. But at the end of the day, it's all fun and games. We know both camera companies make amazing sensors that produce amazing images. So what do? Much like you guys, I go to YouTube and see what's out there. And obviously the ZV line of cameras was gaining steam as far as, entry-level cameras and content creation for social media and things of that nature. So it's obviously that where I gravitated naturally, and I started looking from high to low to see what I was needing, what I was wanting, and trying to venture into a happy medium between both of those things. And so I thought to myself, I spent a lot of money on my R6 Mark IIs, which I have two. Fuji X100V back in the day was $1,500. I just got an Insta360, tack on another $400. So I'm thinking I spent a lot of money on cameras. I think that if I were to get a fourth camera that is also out of my ecosystem, I don't want to spend too much money. So lo and behold, there was one ZV in particular that caught my attention because it checked off all of the boxes that I was looking for in a workhorse content creation camera, and I landed on none other than the ZV-1F. This little guy was released about a year ago, and this is the absolute bare bones entry level into the ZV line of cameras, and I'm gonna go on the record once again and say, I love this thing. So I'm going to go on a limb and say this isn't the first time that you see a ZV-1F video because this little guy has been around for quite some time. However, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the specs that I was looking for in a camera like this so that you can understand why I actually pulled the trigger. Number one, it actually shoots in 4K, and surprisingly enough, the autofocus in this thing is pretty damn good. It's sticky, it's got IAF, and when I move around, I can definitely tell that that thing is straight on. As far as photography is concerned, this thing does not even shoot in RAW. It only shoots JPEGs, but at the end of the day, I didn't get this for the photo features. That's why I have R6 Mark IIs, and that's why I have my Fuji for behind the scenes, more of a personal account. I'm actually gonna link it right below if you wanna follow, but this is definitely not a photo-centric camera, and you can expect of not shooting any RAW images. The ZV-1F actually has an f2 aperture and also a fixed lens, which is going to make my life so much easier. At 20 millimeters, it's wide enough to do any kind of documentation, whether it's vlogging, if in the event I want to turn into Casey Neistat for whatever reason, and just make quick videos in the studio whenever something pops into my head and I quickly want to rant about it. I was actually impressed by the fact that a camera at this point does in fact have a fully articulating tilty flippy screen, which is perfect for content creators, TikTokers, if you want to make dancing videos, whatever the hell you want. This is very cool to have in a camera at this price point. As you can see, the ZV has a dedicated microphone fully integrated into the actual body, and to my surprise, it actually sounds really good. However, it does also have a microphone jack, which is perfect pairing with my Rode Video Mic Go II, and this thing is so tiny, it pairs really well with this camera for vlogging and stuff like that. And so this is, to me, the perfect combination. I'm gonna link this below if you wanna pick one up for your ZV-1F. As if that wasn't enough, with one button, you can artificially blur the background, which is nice for vlogging. You also have a dedicated button for photo, video, and S&Q mode for those slow motion shots, and you even have interval timing for time lapses. Last but not least, you have Sony's digital stabilization called Steady Shot built into the camera, as well as a wonderful Sony camera app, which to me was surprisingly very easy to use. Now, at this point, you're probably wondering, if this guy has R6 Mark IIs and Fuji X100Vs, why in the world would he invest in a camera so cheap? And honestly, it was because every time I look at a camera like this, I feel like recording something. Every time I look at it, it becomes this no excuses kind of camera. And ever since I've got it, admittedly, I've been creating more reels, posting them to TikTok, and turning them into YouTube Shorts. And this is honestly, at its price point, the best content creation camera I think money can buy right now. And if I'm being candid, I think that everybody that does not have a camera that wants to step up from a Galaxy or an iPhone and wants to start something like a YouTube channel or a dedicated Instagram account or TikTok, this is the camera that they should buy. Another reason why I wanted to buy this camera is because if I want to venture out into the world, this is way easier to document my behind the scenes as a wedding business owner and also vlogging camera than this behemoth that's recording me right now, which is the R6 Mark II and the 15-35. I mean, don't get me wrong, it doesn't get to me any better than this as far as studio cameras, but I didn't want a studio camera. I wanted something that I can quickly throw in a sling bag and document and take JPEGs and literally just document my life with outside of the realm of a Canon or a Fuji. And Sony hit the freaking jackpot with this thing. This is amazing. Lightweight, compact. This is a no excuses kind of camera. Now, that begs the question, who is this camera for? I honestly would say everybody. Everybody that wants to document their life, everybody that wants to take their YouTube channels and Instagram accounts to the next level should get this camera. This, by the way, is a little variable ND filter that I got from K&F so that I can literally keep that f2.0 aperture whenever I'm vlogging outside. And as you can see, I'm going to completely pimp this thing out because this is going to be my new everyday camera. I'm going to be using this camera on an everyday basis for content creation. So everything that you see from me coming from YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels or stuff like that, just know that I am going to be using this camera 90% of the time because I can. I honestly just can. This thing is a can't miss. And in case you're wondering how much I actually spent on this camera, you're going to probably kill me. Why? I have a little story you should know. So this little guy retails for $498, and sometimes it goes down to $398 depending on whether or not Amazon feels like shaving off $100 and or it's Prime Day. However, guess how much I paid for this camera? Long story short, I was at Imaging USA and I made friends with the Sony people, and they were kind enough to invite me to a whole plethora of focus group interviews that they piqued my brain about this and that. And as a result of my time and grateful for their appreciation, they sent me a couple of gift cards, one of which was $250. So $398 minus $250 actually equals this. So after finding out how much money I was actually going to pay for this little guy and knowing how much I could get in return at this price point, honestly, it was a no-brainer. I had to pull the trigger. So you're looking at my brand new vlogging / content creative setup. Again, Rode Video Mic Go ZV-1F, ND filter from K&F, as well as the old school GorillaPod, which you can't go wrong. From now on, I am going to be creating most of my vertical content using this little setup right here. And honestly, it doesn't get any better than this for the price that you're probably going to pay whenever you get your hands on this. So again, this entire setup is going to have links below if you want to pick one up for yourself and support the channel, obviously, through an affiliate link. I would appreciate that. If you get a little something out of this video, hey, stick that thumb you know where. And if you want to stick around and see more videos like this one, let me know by subscribing. I would love to have you and grow the family. My name is Francis, Destination Wedding Photographer, After Shoot Ambassador. And also, again, After Shoot, link in the description, 15% off just for having watched this entire video. Thank you so much for being here. and I'll see you in the next one. I can't believe I just reviewed a Sony camera. What's next? A7R4? A9 III? A1? 2? When that comes out, this is how it starts. This is why people switch to Sony, because they get their hands on a teeny tiny little ZV-1F, and all of a sudden, boom, 5 Sony cameras. Where does it end? Is this the beginning of my doom? Am I going to leave Canon? My entire team is going to poke fun at me. What did I just do?